The government, petroleum dealers and importers of petrol have been locked in negotiations for over 1 year. The petroleum dealers are demanding an increase in their profit margins. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Commerce, Titus Preville, says the two parties are close to reaching a deal. Recent indications by members of the Petroleum Dealers Association have led to panic buying by consumers at the pumps over the past few weeks. The Permanent Secretary says this is not called for and should be discontinued.
The dealers were fully aware that they had made a request, that the request was being studied and analyzed, that the government was going through a process of also consulting with the importers of fuel, and that the government was going to arrive at a position where it would be able to make its position known. So the information channels have never been closed. The process was known, and so we had difficulty understanding why the sense was being given that the gas station dealers were going to shut down. We were never at a stage where there was an impasse between ourselves and the dealers.
In January 2008, government awarded petroleum dealers a 10-cent increase in their profit margins from 70 cents to 80 cents for unleaded gasoline and 15 cents from 55 cents to 70 cents for diesel. The petroleum dealers have requested a further increase of 30 cents on every gallon of gasoline sold. The Permanent Secretary says if the government agrees to the request from the petroleum dealers, this would amount to an increase of 40 cents per gallon on unleaded fuel and 55 cents per gallon on diesel within the space of 1 year.
The petroleum dealers, I must say, have been asking for an increase not only now. And there is a sense that some people believe it is only because the C-tax on petroleum fuels, that is diesel and unleaded, it is because the C-tax is positive that the petroleum dealers are making the request. That's not the case, in fairness to them. The petroleum dealers have been making a request in light of the fact that they have indicated that the cost of operations have gone up. So the government is approaching the matter.
Preville says government is carefully examining the request from the dealers. He says the request is being considered along with a number of concerns, including the current economic climate. He says the Cabinet of Ministers met on Monday to discuss the issue. That meeting took place days after the Prime Minister met with petroleum dealers, one that led to the cancellation of a planned for strike on Sunday.
The government has to take on board the fact that when the price of fuel that's the world price of fuel, was over $100 a barrel for most of last year, that consumption taxes that the government had budgeted for in the year before were not realized, and that the government must seek to recoup some of those consumption taxes to undertake projects that are in the public interest.
The petroleum dealers have agreed to give the Prime Minister enough time to consider their request for an increase, vowing not to strike until the process is completed. Shannon LeBon, HTS News, Channel 4.